joining me today. My name is Alexia. I'm a local home baker here in Alcona. My bakery business is called Make with Love by Lexie. I specialize in French macarons. I also offer other goodies such as cinnamon rolls, other types of cookies, cupcakes, as well as custom cakes. Today I've decided to show you how to make cutout gingerbread cookies. With it being so close to Christmas, I figured it would be a really great recipe for you to do, especially with the kids, to get those gingerbread cookies decorated and have some fun so close to the holidays. So I'm going to go into showing you the tools and ingredients that you'll need in order to make successful cookies. So here we'll start with a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, some cookie cutters, spatula, rolling pin. For this recipe you can use a stand mixer or a hand mixer. You'll need your paddle attachment to mix the dough. For the icing you'll need your whisk attachment. And then we'll get over into the ingredients for this recipe. So starting with the dough, here I have pre-sifted 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And to this I also added 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 3 teaspoons of ground ginger. I did heaping teaspoons because I like a lot of ginger in my gingerbread. Half a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom. The spicier the better for me. Also, you're going to need half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of fancy dark molasses. Got yourself 1/4 cup of room temperature butter, half a cup of water, and then for your icing you have 3.5 cups of powdered sugar. I have 2 egg whites here with 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar powder. You can also use carton egg whites for this as well, and if you wish you can use vanilla extract. You'll also need a piping bag. Here I have a disposable piping bag as well as a ziploc bag. If you don't have disposable piping bags, the ziploc bags will work just fine. And then we can go ahead and get started with mixing our wet ingredients together. So we're going to start with our 1/4 cup of butter. So that goes right into the mixer. I'm now going to just close the mixer down and have the butter cream on its own for a little bit. To a medium speed is fine. So we're going to add the sugar now and cream the sugar and the butter together for about 2 minutes. You also want to make sure you scrape down the sides to get all the butter out of the paddle attachment as well as off the sides of the mixer and get it unstuck from the bottom of the mixer as well. You want to make sure everything is nicely creamed together. That way you don't have any lumps and clumps of sugar and butter in your dough. Now we're going to add the half a cup of dark molasses. I'm just gonna slide this up a bit. Scrape down your sides again. Back on it goes. Just gonna scrape it down again and let it go for a little bit longer, and then we'll start to add in the dry ingredients along with the half a cup of water. Already smells good. right, so I turned my mixer off. That way I don't get a big cloud of flour up in my face, because that happens to me all the time. So we're gonna start with just a little bit at a time. You wanna do it in thirds. So a third of your flour mixture with a third of your water. And then you'll start mixing again until it's incorporated before you add the next batch of flour. Just until incorporated. Then we're gonna add the last of the flour in now. And the last of our water. Now you don't want to mix this too much. You don't want to bring out too much of the gluten in the flour. So just until you start to not see the flour anymore, then you can turn it out onto a floured surface, knead it into a ball, and then I'll show you what we'll do with it next. So you know it's ready when it starts to pull away from the sides of the bowl like that. So now we're ready to refrigerate this. So you want to grab yourself some parchment paper, and then you're going to wrap your dough into, gonna divide it into two. We're gonna get our dough into the fridge to chill. It's best to chill these for an hour, or you can do it overnight, a couple of days. The dough also freezes well as well. All right, we're gonna get these in the fridge and have them chill. And then when we come back, we will move on to the next step, which is the fun part, rolling out the dough. Now it's been about an hour that our dough's been chilling in the fridge, so we can go ahead and gather up all the tools we need in order to cut out those cookies. So now that we have all of our tools, we can go ahead and preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Also make sure that it's in the middle rack position. So what you want to do is go ahead and start with a well-floured surface. So I'm just going to sprinkle a bit of flour onto the surface of my mat here. You don't necessarily need a silicone mat. I just prefer to roll my dough out onto a silicone mat, but you can do it right on your counter surface. So this is half of the dough that I have chilling here. So because this is a stainless steel rolling pin, the flour won't stick to it, so I just sprinkle lightly on top. And you want to roll out, and I like to turn it. That way I get to roll it out evenly. And if you feel it starting to stick, don't be hesitant to sprinkle more flour. It's not going to do anything to the dough. Now this dough tends to rise up quite a bit once it's baking because of the baking soda that's in it. So you can roll this out fairly thin and you'll still get a good rise out of these gingerbread cookies. So they're more of like a cakey consistency. Like I was saying much earlier in the video, they're not going to be a crunchy texture. These are going to bake for 8 to 10 minutes. If you want them more on the chewy side, you can bake them for 8. If you want them a little bit more crunchy on the outside with a nice chew on the inside, you can bake them for up to 10 minutes. And if you want to do them a little bit longer, you can do that too, just don't burn them. All right, so now we're all done with rolling out our dough. We can go ahead and start cutting. So I just have some a Christmas tree and a gingerbread man cookie cutter here. So the good thing about this is you can go ahead and just kind of make sure they're as close as possible. That way you're not really wasting any of the dough. I don't like to re-roll my dough more than once after I've done that, because it kind of, you know, activates more of the gluten in the dough and it kind of can tend to get tough. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut out a few of these. Some Christmas trees and some gingerbread man. My kids are gonna be so surprised when they come home and see all these cookies everywhere. So this is only half of the dough that I'm cutting out here. You still have another half. So this recipe yields a good amount of cookies. Show you the thickness of the dough there. Good one right in the middle there. Let's see if we can get one more of these guys. Yep. All right. So we've got those cut out. I'm going to show you just quickly how you can decorate right now prior to baking if you don't want to use icing. So I've got some Christmas M&Ms here. Can just stick them right in the middle there. The gingerbread men. Do a couple of them like that. And that sounds like our oven is preheated. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven. I like to bake mine for 10 minutes. Here I have 2 egg whites. If you don't want to use fresh eggs, you can also use carton egg whites, which are pasteurized. That would be the equivalent to about 6 tablespoons of egg whites from the carton. And I also have 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar powder in here as well. So you're just going to throw these into your mixer. So you're going to use the whisk attachment on your stand mixer, or you can use the whisk attachment on a hand mixer to do this. You're going to go ahead and whip this on medium-high to start, and then you can crank it up to high, and then I'll show you what it's supposed to look like before you add your powdered sugar to it. Alright, so this has been about 2 minutes on high speed. So this is where you would like your meringue to be at. Stiff peak stage. So we're going to pop that back on. Now, you can add vanilla extract or flavoring at this point if you'd like. I'm just going to add a little drop. And then I'm going to slowly start to incorporate my powdered sugar. So this bowl here again has 3.5 cups of powdered sugar. And again, so you don't have a big cloud of powdered sugar flying everywhere, I just incorporate it in threes. Scrape down your sides again. And in the meantime, while I was doing this, our cookies finished baking. So I've removed them from the oven and I have them just out on a cooling rack. Now if your icing is too thick, which it looks like it's a little bit on the thick side here, you can also add just a touch of water until you get a good consistency. All right, should be good. So we're gonna scrape down the sides, give it a little mix, and then we're gonna transfer it into our piping bag and get decorating. So now our icing's ready, we can get ready to fill our piping bag or our ziploc bag. So what I've done is just gotta grab some kitchen glasses, and I've just stuck the piping bag into the glass here, and then I'm gonna show you with the ziploc bag as well. That way it just makes it easier for you to fill the bags. Oh geez, where'd he come from? Okay, that doesn't want to come off. Alright, so we're just going to fill like that. Now you can also color your icing as well. The best icing to use is a gel. Food coloring. If you don't have gel, that's fine. Just a few drops of liquid food coloring will do. Just try not to add too much. You will yield a very dark color with liquid because it'll just change the consistency, but gel is your best bet. So I've got some icing ready to go here. And then all you have to do is seal her up real good. And then just snip the end off, big enough for you to be able to pipe. I like to give it a little swing. Make sure all the icing moves down to the bottom. Get rid of any air bubbles. Give it a twist. Give it a tie, give it a snip, and then again. You can go ahead, I would always start small depending on what you're looking to pipe and the detail you want. So we're just gonna do a little snip like that, and we're ready to decorate. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the cooled cookies here. They turned out great. So let's go ahead and decorate. All right, so I have some sprinkles here. And then we'll get started. So I guess I'll give this guy some eyes and a mouth. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can decorate these guys however you want. These, or you can add some of these. Let's fill this in. I don't like that there. Let's try something different. Yeah, this is the fun part. This is where you get to enjoy the reward of all the work you just did. And there's our gingerbread man. I'm gonna break into one of these just so you can see what I was talking about, the texture. Delicious. So this was only half the dough that I cut out here. It made about 12 cookies. There's only 9 here. My husband ate one. Dexter took a chunk out of one and I ate one. So we still have half the dough to go. So I'm gonna save that for when my kids get home so they can have fun decorating too. I just want to take this time to thank you all for joining me. I had a lot of fun, as I hope you all did too. I hope you all ended up with successful cookies. Please feel free to share them with me. I'd love to see them decorated. Baked with Love by Lexie on Instagram and Facebook. I just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and stay safe, everyone.